Pastor Terry Gobanga was looking forward to tying the knot with her sweetheart when the unthinkable happened. Disaster struck not once, but twice. Very painful, very heartbreaking. But she had to pick the pieces and move on. We'll be talking to her shortly, but first, let's take a look at this.
Some people find it very difficult to cope after losing a loved one. Many of these people resort to alcoholism and other destructive behaviors to help them cope.
I went blank. I was not talking to anyone. I went to, actually it figured to a point that if I even backslidden, I nashed completely. I went into alcohol, I went into drugs.
To help such people cope, outside help is crucial. At the Stones to Ruby's church, there is a healing session held to help people in these situations. This is very important because the bereaved get encouraged through counseling and a better understanding of grief and scripture.
But you came and you buried your mother last Saturday. Grief can be something that strikes you so hard and it hits you so hard, a place that you do not want to be. But do you know, Paul, that there is something in you that you want to celebrate about?
This is one way in which society can help people going through grief. Religious leaders and other influential leaders should be able to step in and help people in their mourning process.
First and foremost, thank you so much for deciding to come to the Taj Show and share your story with millions of viewers who are watching you right now. How did it start?
Some few years back, I was going to get married, and one morning I realized that I had part of the clothes of my fiancé. And so as I was cutting a friend to take the clothes to him, on my way back, there was a car parked, nothing in my mind because it's my wedding day. That's all you think about. And as I passed the car shortly, one of the guys grabbed me from behind and put me in the car. And immediately we started driving off. As we were driving off, the threats started coming and a knife was pulled, and I was told that I have to cooperate or I die. And at that point, it still hadn't hit me because I was still thinking probably my fiancé Harry then wanted to give me a surprise of something. But quickly the surprise came to a halt when the punches of blow landed on my face and the knife, and I'm being told you have to remove. I had a pair of jeans on. And so finally, they managed to remove my pair of jeans. In the car, it was the driver, the co-driver, myself, and one of the men that I was with behind. And so when that happened, fighting with the knife, and so I had a lot of cut on my palms because we were trying to struggle for the knife. So the first man managed to make his move, and he raped me. And then the second man, who was a co-driver, came behind, and he too, he was able to do the same thing. And the only time the car stopped is when it was the driver's turn. When the driver came behind, I believe he thought he would be a little bit different. And so there were pieces of cloth that he had stuffed in my mouth. So the pieces of cloth were removed from my mouth, and he removed his manhood and put it in my mouth. And so at this point, I beat him. In my mind, I was thinking, I have nothing to lose really because of all the blood that was oozing from me. And I knew I'm just a gone case because by this time I was really feeling nauseous, you know. And so I beat him, and the car door was open. I was stabbed on my right, on my stomach, and the car door was open. I was thrown outside from a moving vehicle, and I hit the floor. I remember hitting the tarmac very hard, and I rolled a bit, and I passed out. Now remember, I was abducted at about 5:45 in the morning from Buruburu, where we were staying. And I was found at about midday midday at Rongai Kiserian. So I think all this while, we were just in the car driving round and round and round.
So how soon, because that was your wedding day.
Yes.
So after surviving, I'm sure going to hospital, getting better. After how long did you now proceed with your wedding plans and go married?
Immediately it happened. Interesting enough, Harry was a special man because he came to the hospital with my wedding gown, and he wanted to marry me there and then. But I wasn't in any right frame of mind to say I do or I don't, because really so much was just happening at that time. And so from that time, he kept asking me, can we get married? Can we get married? I wasn't ready because I had learned very little about HIV and AIDS. And that was my greatest concern because I was put on the ARVs and I wanted to make sure that I am negative before I decide to make this move. But most so, my mind was really in a mess, so to speak, because one minute I would wake up and I think, did we get married or did we not get married? And I had a lot that I would ask God, why this, why that? But all the same, once it was confirmed that I wasn't positive, that was about 3 months after. And Harry just kept talking to me about it. And when I thought I'm better now, we started organizing for it, which was now 6 months after the repo deal. And so at this time, it's when some lady just came to my rescue called VIP, and they organized for me a wedding with a group of girls called Sherehe Africa. And they organized for me a totally free wedding, you know, free wedding, because it was all over in the media. This is what has happened to a certain bride. So the community, so to speak, in fact, I say Kenya came to a standstill and gave me a beautiful, beautiful wedding, which I never paid for a dime. Yes.
And after getting married, again, disaster struck again.
Yes.
What led to that?
Okay. We went for honeymoon 3 weeks. We came back, and on a Saturday, we thought maybe we want to start our lives in prayer and fasting, and that's what we did. So come afternoon, I told my husband, Harry, that I needed to go to the salon and make my hair. So he took me to the salon, and while we were there, he told me he wants to go to the supermarket and buy a jiko, which I didn't understand why, because normally jiko would really congest me, and he knows my situation. And so after a bit of back and forth with him, I allowed him. So he went, bought the jiko, came back. When we went home, I left him outside lighting the jiko. I went to the kitchen to prepare the dinner. So he came to the kitchen, switched off the gas, and he decided, I want to talk to you. And I didn't understand the urgency. And so he started talking like, if I die, this is what I would want you to do. You need to move on. You have a loving family. And I said, listen, what are we talking about? We are married 29 days. We've just come back from honeymoon. We want to open our fast with food. Why are we talking about death? Not today, really. And he was not happy with that. So he just looked away and came back. There was a certain not good atmosphere in the house. So we just held on to each other, and we really did cry. After that, we prayed and had our meal. So when we went to the bedroom, it was really, really hot, but personally I was cold, and I let him know that. But once we slept, I passed out, you know, come back, and I would call on him, and at times he would respond, and at times he would not respond. And I finally managed, when I came to at one point, I finally managed to just try and push myself out of bed because I didn't have a witness in my spirit. Something was totally wrong. And so I pushed myself out of the bed. When I fell down, I threw up. When I threw up, interesting enough, I had some strength to crawl to the light. So I went, switched on the lights, and I looked at him. He was peacefully sleeping. I picked the phone, called my neighbor. My neighbors came. They managed to break up out of the door, and I managed to crawl and get to the last latch of the door. So we were rushed to hospital. That was Kikuyu Hospital, which was the nearest hospital at the time. When we were there, I remember at one point just coming to, and I would see all these machines attached to me, and I asked for my husband, and they said they're working on him. And so later on, when the doctor came, I asked him, where is my husband? And that's when the doctor just looked at me and told me, you know what, he didn't make it. You know, he did not make it. I was in so much denial that I laughed. You know, I just laughed, and I looked at him. I told him, are you born again? He said yes. And I said, okay, let's go and pray for him.